close my eyes, I see a strange reality. Am I dreaming, or on the edge of remembering? You wake up feeling like you really don't belong. You can't explain it, but when you close your eyes you see familiarity. Are you dreaming, or on the edge of remembering? Iron Bear. Well, if you don't know, who else will? You have to know. So who else is here today? Dreambot? Dreambot? Academy. I like your name. Okay, yeah, we look like I woke up, didn't we? Okay. My poor hair. I try. I really do. I'm not good with hair. That's why you see it in ponytails all the time. Person who doesn't know what to do with hair. It's not an inborn thing for females. Just being female does not make me capable of doing my hair. I learned that the hard way by people saying, why don't you do something with your hair? And me going, my mother went to the beautician. That's all I know how to do. So I brought my breakfast with me. I managed to sleep a little last night. And can you hear me okay? Can you hear that okay? Really? Do you like to date women who have buzz haircuts? Not that I'm inviting you on a date, but is that your preference? Bald women? So, my sister wrote, she's leaving today. She said she woke up feeling really calm and like mom doesn't need her now and she could go. And her daughter felt the same way. Because that's another story. But I saw my papa with my mom yesterday. So I'm not worried about my mom. Everything now is all about the living and what we need to deal with emotionally. That's all there is to it. That's life. No, the buzz ain't bald, but to me it might as well be. It's close to. What can I say? I'm a product of the 50s, 60s. I'm a long hair freak. I like long hair. And it doesn't have to be like my hair. Long, you know. Although the last two guys had hair longer than me. Or as long. Anyway, it's Sunday. I felt it was wrong of me not to do a show. No, I didn't feel it was wrong. I'm lying. I wanted to be here with you. Nowhere near what I had? Which person are you referring to? And what stage of my hair? I mean, because now it's like, it's getting longer. From Intuitube. Oh, Intuitube days. Yeah, my hair was down to my waist. Yeah, that was hell. Finding ways to keep it up on top of my head was a challenge. That was pre-scrunchy days, actually. They had not invented scrunchies yet. Or did they? No, they had recently. They were not in the stores yet. They were being made by hand. Because that was happening at the street fairs that Glenn and I worked. That was before we left California. That was way before Intuitube. My hair was so long, it did not like being in ponytails where the weight was all pulling on my scalp, giving me a headache. But I thought today I would give it a break and wear it down. Actually, the first thing I do in the morning is put it up, and I did. And then I thought, I need to relax today. My hair was always straight. Yeah, definitely. Now it's chemo curled. You're seeing 6 years of chemotherapy. You know, okay, men don't realize it, but when a woman has to take chemo, and it changes a man's hair too, but usually it's the women who recognize the other changes, because suddenly dye does not hold true. Sometimes you get colors you do not expect or like. You get curl where it was straight. It gets sometimes springy. It's like, when did I grow a pube on my head? Chemo does weird shit to your proteins and your fat. So yeah, back in the day, it was long, it was straight. I had a little wave to it, but there was a beautician when I was a young woman like 14, 12, that, you know. No, it doesn't stay the same for life. Good morning, Dolphin. Oh my goodness, you poor dear. Did you get to pee and can't go back to sleep? Hair changes, Ironbeard, just like, you know, the pigment cells die and you end up getting white hair. We're always changing. Oh, well, lucky you. I actually slept, I don't know how many hours. I haven't checked yet. I can do that right now while I'm talking to you, because it doesn't interfere with my bandwidth. I know I did not sleep early because, you know, my mom's been on my mind and all, so I was up late again. But I think I got at least 6 hours sleep. We'll see. I'm waiting for that readout. Fitbit, wake up. Looking for tracker. It's right here. It's right here. Look, on my arm. Nice gray band to match my gown. Oh, okay. Whew. It's in everything but put it inside the computer rudely. Sinking. Well, I'm glad to see you here. My sister Dee sent me a message. Look at that. I really did okay. I slept 7 hours and 43 minutes, awake twice, restless 7 times. Oh, that's good. That's good, because you got to be up early when they start waking up. Dee said she and her daughter both woke up feeling very calm, like mom doesn't need us, so they're leaving, coming back to Connecticut today. And like, okay, I love you. Incapable. God, especially when they're together. Oh my God. What a strange combo. But it's family. I had a brainstorm this morning for the show. Dina was in here last night, and she expressed the desire that many of us feel, where we want to do something good for the yeah, they're keeping me in the loop. My youngest one and I, we're the ones that have real talks. We're the real sisters with each other. Yeah. If I want to be in the loop, there's nothing that could stop me. You know what I mean? But like, me and my sisters, we're all ladies now. You know, we're in our 60s. Leftovers right under your nose. You got it. First it's right under your nose, and then it's left over. Hallelujah, we figured that out. So, some of us feel enormous love and compassion for this world, and we want to do something good. When we want to do something good, when we team up with other people who want the same thing, it's more likely to get done, right? Now, we have done things, it's no secret, people get together for group prayer. That when there's going to be, we see something common like a hurricane, and we see it's going to hit a vulnerable area. A lot of people get together and pray about that and try to get that energy moving, and sometimes it works. We affect the world. Just because it's not obvious all the time doesn't mean we're not having an effect. Vibrationally, it's impossible not to have an effect, actually. So if we're focused, and we're focused on the same dynamic, the same thing, we can make change. But the change requires us all being, if we want to work together, it's not just about our thoughts, it's our vibration. So if we can, this was the brainstorm this morning, the big thing you see, like what gets groups together, what gets them, what connects a group, and it's song, music, drumming, rhythm. Basically, it's not so much the words as the vibrations that they're putting out as a group. It's not just one person, their vibe, which affects their sphere, but lots of spheres get involved. So I was thinking about how can we do that on the show, because one of the fastest ways to raise our, basically to get us all on the same vibration, step by step, like at least for a full minute before we launch our desire, which is to affect something specific. A song, right? Churches have songs. The most successful rallies have chants. Even if they are horrible things, they are catchy. The human spirit latches onto these patterns and vibrations. And just like I was talking to Rich last night, I used to help this one church. And I had him laughing very hard with what I used to call it. But I'll wait for that because I'll start laughing again if I tell you. I used to help them with their folk mass. And I think I probably told you that before, and I would go there with my guitar, but I'd wear my Jewish star so they would know that I'm not actually one of you, but I believe in God too, so I will help you expand your audience, whatever you call it, what do they call the people that come? The congregation. Oh, Iron Bear. So put some of the chicken breast and sweet taters into the freezer and order a pizza. And then put the leftover pizza in the freezer and take out the chicken when you're ready for it. Solved. I'm an expert at shuffling food around. So, I was thinking we could come up with some songs to get us on the same page. But basically, we need to come up with one thing that we want to change. Someplace that we want to push our energy toward to help something evolve in a more positive direction. We can't make people do things. It's not that at all. Just like when we start vibrating our desires, the whole idea behind that is to attract the same vibration. The more of those vibrations that are out there, the faster our reality changes into the reality that we desire, rather than the one that happens to be circumstantial due to other vibrations interfering with, while we're not really thinking strongly about anything. So most of the time it takes a lot of energy to focus, right? Because you're distracted all the time. You're raising little human beings, you're taking care of gardens, you're taking care of automobiles and working out transportation plans. I mean, all these things are taking our energy and our attention, so we can't constantly work on bigger projects that go way beyond our personal spheres. So we know that there are some things you have to dive into personally in your community, and other things you need help with if you want to see the change. So I think if we were to come up with a song that verbally and musically, more important the music, but the words can't be conflicting with our desire. If it supports what we're trying to put our focus on, and all of us listen to the same song, even if we haven't written it, even if it's not specific to what we're doing any more than someone else already did it, but we found one that matches or close enough, is the energy. It's the energy. And when our energy rises, it's usable, it's directable. So start looking at your energy when we raise it. Like, okay, you've heard of, maybe you haven't, witches raising a cone of power. Now, people poo-poo that, and yet they believe in the power of prayer, right? That's why they gather in the churches and under tents, all right? They're even told, it's your job to do this. Your job to honor God is to get as many people as you can together to say the same thing, make the same sounds. What do you think they're doing? They're just doing it unconsciously. They think they're doing this in obedience to God. They don't understand what they are actually in the process of not just creating, but they're maintaining, even if it's not actually healthy for the entire tribe. So they do it anyway because that's what they're locked into doing. It's just like self-perpetuating, sending a barrel down a hill, and the hill is endless, and they just keep. So they're stuck. All right, they're not going to be able to see outside of that. They're off and they're running. But we, if we're more conscious of our energy, you can join any religious group you want and add your energy to what's going on there. Feel the peace of a good sermon, a good preacher. There are lots of good people out there with wonderful spirits spreading light. And I suggest that if you are into going into groups that are already in a spiritual format that you are familiar with and you feel good and safe in, then do it. But make sure that you are always hearing something positive and the vibration is going upward and not down. Unfortunately, a lot of politics have been leaking into a lot of evangelicals circles, and because of that, their energy has been going down. Okay, and they are creating, they're creating the energy that creates an earthquake kind of a thing. All right, it's rumbling, it's scraping, and they're just ready to, for this fault line to crack. It doesn't have to be that way, it's all the same God, all the same energy, but it's, they're getting involved with things that they really shouldn't be doing if they are going after a spiritual thing. They're really taking it down a dirty road when they mix it with politics. But we know that. Anyway, it's what they're doing, and because there are so many people doing that, it really does behoove us to focus our energy now and then. Now, our Sunday show is traditionally our meditation day. We talk about ways to make ourselves happy, because our happiness, our contentment, our being able to put our own fears to rest is what makes us better people. And if we are calmer, more together, more loving, more compassionate, then of course everybody around us is going to experience that. Whether they can understand that or not, well, that's their problem, or their blessing. If they get it, they will be uplifted, and you will have turned a light on in a place that needed some cleaning. If you can't, that is not your job to worry about. You keep moving upward for yourself. So I can't have the same energy as you. I'm stuck with 220 volts. Well, I wasn't suggesting that you plug your fingers into the sockets, darling. The energy is never stagnant, so we don't have the same energy we had 5 minutes ago. Other than the life energy that is sustaining our normal processes for survival. Oh, let me see. Ah, yes, exactly. You got it.
It's back to school.
An
and
ABC
back to
sing-along,
enjoying
a
your
national
coffee
sing-along.
without any interruptions.
Yes.
We are one, but we are many.
Beautiful.
We share a dream
This is what I'm talking about.
and sing with one voice.
There's lots of things like this. So we don't have screens for all of you.
But we are many, and from all the lands on earth we come. We share a dream and sing with one voice.
Captivated.
We are Australian.
How awesome is that? Oh, thank you. That's who it is. And that's really funny. I've been singing a song of hers all morning, and she inspired me this morning to the very thought that we can use song to unite us. Wow. Exactly. That's just proving it right there. The song that got me charged up. Well, you know, I use music all the time to charge me up. And exactly. Yes. Yes. Yes and yes. We are imbibed. That is what we are. So we need to appreciate that while we have it. Access to it is through the mind, direct channeling. So people laugh at, you know, even though they do this and we can feel it and we know what wonderfulness we are putting into the world, there are still those who would scoff because they're used to doing that. Like, I understand, like, witches getting together to stop Nazi invasions and raising a cone of power, and it's true that the invasion or whatever they were trying to keep away did keep away, but they laugh at that. They say, well, oh, those witches, I bet they thought that they had anything to do with avoiding this tragedy. And the witches are going, you're welcome. Because they know the power of energy. It's not about your religious beliefs. They're there to comfort you because you were born into them. And always remember that your initial religious beliefs were put on you. You did not choose them. You were born into them, you were trained into them, you were taught them, you were given what they felt your parents or your family or your community believed was a good, solid foundation, moral teaching. And whatever that is and whatever that was, as you get older, you may or may not reject it or reject parts of it, choose another religion, choose a different path. This is growth. As you start to be exposed to more things and you start to compare different ideas against your own experiences in the world, you come to your own understandings, and agreements with spirit, and the spirit is also you, taking you in hand. So the more light you let in, the more you will see. That is a good one, yes. But it's bigger than that. That's what I experienced with my father when he visited. I'm sorry, I'm chasing chocolate crumbs lest I become embedded with those. Yes, it is that connection. We have special connections all throughout our lives. And look, we all have different ones, right? Nothing is left alone. Nothing is abandoned as much as one believes. But everything that is left is teaching a lesson. Who hears, we have to wait and see. Yes. For me, it was cats. Cat spirit. It was my first connection as a child with an animal that wasn't wild. Something that was totally me. Well, Iron Bear, in a way that is true. Snowball, hi. Well, I'm doing better than yesterday, but we still are waiting on news about my mother. I remember that's true. Like being snowblind, there is a saying from somewhere that to look upon the face of God would blind you, or you would die in the presence of God. And that hasn't stopped us from trying to see God, has it? We want proof. We want proof. Humans want proof. We want things that we can hug, touch, see, smell, taste. We want proof of the existence of some immortal being, which is the problem because we're all proof. Everything here is proof of the existence of us. Oh, you're a different snowball. I should have recognized that. There's another snowball, but the other snowball is a little bit trollish. My mother is getting ready to transition. She's been going through this for a few days. Oh, that would be you? Oh, okay. I thought you were aware then, because that's what I was talking about last night. We're waiting for word that my mother has died to this world. But she's already out of her body. Her father came for her yesterday. So, anyway, thank you. Let's see. So, everybody has a different idea about what they want to put into the world. And that's good, because it takes everybody. We want everybody's perspective, because that's what we learn from. It's like every human being on the planet, everything on the planet is like an ant gathering one little piece of food, one little piece of information from its own place on the planet, and contributing it to the universal understanding of what are we, what is us. We are hunters for information, but our foundation is compassion, even though as a human it takes quite a lot of work to even reach that ability to feel compassion on a large scale. So start with love. Love is the closest you can get. So we were basically made to love each other. We were created to love. And in this creation, we were also created to specifically love specific things, so that specifically we would care for these things. We would be stewards of this world. So the hope is that whatever we love, we will care for, whether it is dolphins, plants, foods, animals, our children, or whatever, our families, those of us who have them. Not everyone has a family. So again, this is from everybody's individual perspective. Everyone is a piece of the puzzle. There are no exceptions. We can hate on each other, we can hate different pieces of the puzzle, but really we're just hating pieces of ourselves. We're looking at pieces that we don't like. Basically we're saying, I don't like that in myself. You have to have some of that in you to even recognize it. So get real. Everybody's eyes are your eyes, but not exactly. They're contributing to your higher eyes, but right now, universe is looking through your eyes. Your perspective matters. Your preferences matter, which is why I encourage you to look at what do you desire. What is your preference in anything? Do you prefer coffee or tea? Do you prefer night or day? What is your preference in everything? Start comparing. I agree. Indifference is the worst of all. Yep. It was actually my stepmother who taught me that. My stepmother was a brilliant woman, and I loved her very much. I also hated her a bit. She was a gaslighter, a manipulator. She was a master, or I guess a mistress. Oh, I'm always inspired to write songs, and I do have a song that I will be performing eventually. I don't have the voice at the moment, and it can't be done a cappella. It is something I wrote years ago, and I finally finished it recently. And it is a song? It is a song to the world. So I will get it out there. And it's called "When I Close My Eyes, I See," and then I tell you what I see. Everyone is inspired to take care of different things, to be attracted to different things. You like dolphins. I love cats and dogs. I like rodents. I love mice. I love rats. Rats are awesome pets. I wish I could have a couple. Maybe someday I'll have one, and be really, really close to it and go everywhere with it, because they have to have company. They're very social. Rats actually love, but they don't live very long. But then again, at my age, I'm looking at things more short term anyway. Okay. But see, to heal the planet, again, the planet is not going to heal magically. The planet will always heal itself when humans stop adding to the problems, right? So we have to go closer. We have to look at aspects so we can affect specifically. Oh yes, absolutely. I wasn't even thinking of COVID. No. No, no, no. Right now, the people who are ending up in the hospital are people who did not get vaccinated. So even though I'm going to have to get a booster shot. Yes, exactly. The blessing in disguise is often a disaster. Oh, congratulations. Which one did you get? Right, Dolphin. It's like, start looking at how much do you need. You know, for years now I've been walking through Walmarts, and I haven't walked through one recently, but for years I did. It was the only place in town, you know. Honey, I know you just wanted to get out of there, but you left with a little card to show when you got what vaccination, because you have to be tracked for any feedback you can offer on your reactions. You're done with the syringe, but don't be stupid about it now. You're not a kid. It's recommended. Now, did you get a one kind or a two part? The vaccination, it's either a one part or a two part. You get 2 shots or you get 1 shot. Which one did you get? One and done, or you go back in 28 days for your second shot. There you go. So on your card it'll tell you if you had Moderna, if you had Pfizer. Oh, okay, then you do definitely want to know which one you got. The Moderna is 28 days. And then 2 weeks after, you're 100% Pfizer. Okay. Pfizer's right across the river from me. Their scientific research center. Yo, Charlie. It's not, they do have a factory, but it is a research center. That's where all the biologists and chemists, all that. I'm okay. I'm okay. How are you? Good. Well, congratulations, Snowball. That's good. Not a yacht. I used to sing on. I was a ship's minstrel. I performed on the Block Island ferry, and that was going back and forth to Block Island. Those were, I don't know, 2 or 3 hour trips. I used to do 2-hour gigs, so yeah, I did a lot. And then I was a ship's minstrel on a schooner, a 63-foot schooner out of Mystic, Connecticut. Oh, wonderful. Did you have a good time? Oh, the rich woman. Oh yeah, God. The one with the fake boobs. The flotation devices. Oh, good. Well, I'm glad you went and had a good time. Yeah, Snowball, the joke was that, we weren't really joking so much about her boobs. The point about her was that her vanity was so great that we were joking that if the ship was going down, she would be one of the ones that didn't make it. Because she would be too busy fixing her makeup and making sure her rescue stuff looked just right. Yeah, how do you remember that story? Jesus, that was a long time ago, right? Iron Bear, how long ago was that? Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, her vanity. That's oh well. You know what? I'm really not surprised, Snowball, because it stuck with me. The vision of that woman in the galley. All the rest of us, were doing things. She just sat there in the galley. Well, actually, the eating area outside of the galley. Putting makeup on a schooner. We were out in the middle of nowhere. Nobody could see her except the people on the boat. We were so out there, we didn't even see boats in the distance. We were not even in the sight of land. And she's putting makeup on, like a lot of makeup. Memories have to be deliberately made. Memory is not what people think. That makes sense. That is exactly what you have to do to make a memory stick. You have to have something to associate with. It can't just be a photograph in your brain, unless, like, that's how I remember things personally. For remembering physical things like a sunset, certain colors, angles of things, lighting. I stand there, I stare at it, and I'm telling my brain, all right, we're taking a picture of this. We need to remember this, and I try to get it really burned into my brain. And I do that regularly. That's what memory is, because you have to make it stick. Look, my mother is dying from dementia, where your brain gets filled up with what they call Lewy body proteins. They're little bits of protein. Basically, it chokes off the brain until it's dead. Eventually, memories are, of course, removed. The ones that go first are the recent memories. The more recent, the more distorted they get, the more difficult it is for them to bring it back, and then they start losing their long-term memory, and that's when you know it's getting really bad. It's a horrible, sad way to go. The pain is emotional more than a physical thing until the very end. A couple days ago, my mom had a stroke, and she did not wake up from it. So, oh yes, Iron Bear, that was a good one. That was a foot and mouth story. Yeah, it's very sad because it's painful. Jungian archetype. Huh. Well, I have been called things in the past. I used to be the old lady, except I was a young lady. I was the herb lady. I was the wise woman. I was the magic lady. Depended on where I lived and what they wanted. Yeah, 2 days ago, Charlie. So my family has been with her down in Florida. Oh yeah, witch, definitely. Well, I've been called a witch. Yeah, by several people. Actually, yeah, by several people. I had some people, I gave them, they were sick, they had the flu. No, not Wiccan, witch. Wiccan is different. Oh yeah. Well, that's repairing. But often that's a good thought. Um, Witches are not their priests, no. No. Hold on, hold on. Hold the witch stuff for a second. Okay, Dolphin, write down those thoughts because we don't want to lose them. And there's a lot going on in my life right now, so I don't want to lose any ideas, but we have to expect that that will happen as my brain gets filled with things, including cannabis. I like the Dare to Dream Together. My song is about, the one I do have is about love, that we have to love in order to heal. Wicca is a religion, and witches are also Wiccan. Not all witches are Wiccan. All Wiccans are witches. And Wicca as a religion, they have their own hierarchies. Witches are independent, not necessarily belonging to a group that likes hierarchies. They practice by themselves or with a friend or a few friends. And it's witches are more independent. But Wicca as a religion rose from organized witches like the Gardnerians. Gardner, Gardner was a dirty old man who liked encouraging everybody to worship skyclad. Let's all get naked together and dance around in the woods. Yes, pagan. If you're into that, that's great. I'm personally a little too embarrassed. I do not like to dance around outside naked. I'm not much for, skyclad, exactly. Skyclad, wearing nothing but the sky. No clothes, okay? That's the witchy way of saying it. It's a nature religion, okay? Witches, Wiccans, it's all about nature and your place in nature, working with nature. Herbology is the reason I was often accused of being a witch. Also because I did cards. That was enough to be called a witch back then. I had one guy cross the street in fear of me because he'd heard that I was capable of casting the evil eye. I did not even know what the frickin' evil eye was, but I saw him cross the street and I was like, why would he cross the street? Did he not see me? So I went across the street. I live in the United States. And he was like afraid to look me in the eye, and I'm like, what's wrong? Oh, someone said, they said you gave them some magic herbs when they were sick and they got better. But you have a, some kind of, I don't know. And he was like terrified of me, and that terrified me. It's like, why is anyone afraid of me? And why is it bad if they got better? Because I gave them peppermint leaves. I gave them a couple ounces of peppermint, dried peppermint leaves in a baggie. They burned them. So I'm used to superstition and people acting out of superstition and stupid fears. I've had to deal with all of that my entire life, you know, because I've always been different. If I'm myself, I'm definitely different from the average person I've met. But I'm not that weird. I mean, you recognize yourself in me in many different ways. So, I'm a human being, at least at the moment. So, I hope that cleared that up. And Charlie, I'm sorry about the COVID issue. Is she in a nursing home right now or in a memory care facility like my mother is? Hospice has been called in, so hospice is with my mother now. So they're not allowing anybody in, even if they've been vaccinated? Did you get vaccinated? Does she remember you? Or is she too far past that? Is that your decision, or is it not available to you yet? Well, you definitely, if she's got dementia, I don't know when it started for her, but you got about 5 years to the end, average. Some people seem to go faster. My mother, it took 5 years. But she was in excellent health before then, pretty much. And she beat pancreatic cancer. In her 70s. Yeah, I'd want to see her as much as possible while you still can, and there's still a ways to communicate. Can you call her on the phone? Can anybody help, like, hook her up with, like, FaceTime or something? Because we did that with my mother. It's cumbersome. Oh, too bad. Wow, are you fucking lazy? It's cumbersome? Is that really is that the English you want to use, or is that a mistake? To the mansion? I don't know what mansion you're talking about. Yeah, I know. My mom was deaf. And I'm deaf. So it's hard. But we could wave, and we sent her like a birthday cake, pretty cards. You don't have to wait for their birthday to send them something that they can enjoy that doesn't include their hearing losses. Seeing smiles, seeing life, seeing family that cares is kind of important. I have a big house on a mountain. Spend a week there. Well, it sounds like you're doing very well. You got it, girl. Think on lyrics for that song. Dolphin, when you get up. Oh, thank you. And I'd like to share Twist of Fate by Olivia when you wake up later. Don't listen to it now. It'll wake you up. Oh my God. Thank you, Iron Bear. That is the message from my mother. Okay, this is how the universe works. I was the princess with the P. The Princess and the P story. I was the princess. That was something between me and my mother that we were just talking about yesterday. So thank you, Iron Bear. And thank you, Dolphin. That's kind of like my mother right there. Looking at my mother from behind. A small, thin woman with dark hair. Well, all white now, but dark hair. But that's her spirit. You are. Is it long enough to donate? Ah. Then one must. Getting ready for summer? Did my mess inspire you? Like, oh, I don't want it to get that bad. Oh, is it that? Well, ha ha ha! Charlie, it looks like the cards are behind you. It says it's time for you to take a vacation. Oh my goodness, yeah. That's heavy. That's heavy. That's hard on the neck. You don't need that. Because I did not okay what you said. We have language barriers. The bot caught you and I upheld it. Yeah, I don't allow you to type anything like fuck off in my chat. You do it again, you get a timeout. You do it a third time, you get banned. So no, that's why the bot pointed it out and I upheld it. I'm the only one that works with that word. Ha 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 ha. Yes, I'd rather you don't, but I haven't banned that word. And I said I prefer you don't, but I haven't banned that word. Okay, let's do this before you go to bed. Calvin. Thank you for the card. Thank you for bringing the message that Mom's all right. A friend will bring you a big surprise soon. Well. Speaking of friends, we haven't seen Meg since she was returning home yesterday. I'll let my sister know about the message I got. Yes, fortune cookies. Whatever that previous deck was. I have been waiting for a wise assery. Thank you. I was not disappointed. Ah! And this popped out. Well, I think you're gonna like this, Iron Bear. Huh? Celebration time. Let go and have fun. Woo! I don't know what you're gonna do, but you should do something. I am so grateful for that validation that I just got from you, or through you. I love how the universe works. I guess you do. I guess you do. That's a good thing. Let me clear the list. And now, come on, clear it. It's been acting up today. There we go. I don't need a widget preview. Thank you. Okay. Now, I'm all patched up today and got my tea, got some water. Yeah, I had those breakfast biscuits with you. I think it'll be fun having real food later. So, once again, I'm just quiet. Why? I don't know. It's Sunday morning. Half of our audience is still asleep in Hawaii and Oregon, California. They'll start coming in as the show is going off in 45 minutes. Well, let's check the weather. It looks dismal and rainy. Well, it looks more drippy than rainy, actually, at the moment. I'm checking. Oh, we have a new, if you didn't see it, Meg made us a command, exclamation point and art. And it brings up my art link. Okay, right now it's still trying to decide. It's 68 degrees. Oh, it dropped since I got up this morning by 4 degrees. Nice. I like that. 20 degrees Celsius. Today, 50-50 chance of thunderstorms. High of 75. Ew. Ugh. I don't like warm. I don't like anything in the 70s when it's raining. What for? Chance of, oh, that'd be nice. Some thunderstorms in the afternoon. I like that. I like doing art and stuff like that when I'm, and music. Interesting. I'm sorry, that does not work. You redeemed a card for the room. I get to name it, not you. Do you seriously remember what that deck was that you're asking me to play? If so, name it. You only think that's a great joke because you're 16. What is the name of the deck? Objectively peak comedy. I'm sorry I didn't see it that way. You're running with an old joke. Okay. I don't know. Your timing is off, Charlie. Some things are better in real life, like timing is everything. I think, what do I want to do? The last deck I looked at you just have to sit around for longer. The last deck I enjoyed reworking with was last night, and that was the O.L.G.A.on. Charlie, you might want to go back and listen to my last show. All right. Adventure. I'm not going to tell you. Listen to yourself. It's a talk. Alright, the card of adventure. Notice that you can't see clearly into the future, but there it is, with the promise of rainbows. But if you're afraid of the darkness, you may be too afraid to take a step into the future, into tomorrow, or into now. The future can be as bright as you want it. What are you expecting? Time for you to step into your own adventure. Because of the subject matter being discussed, spiritually, energetically, then eat. Those are my breakfast protein biscuits. So, let's see. I am going to go over there for a minute. Iron Bear and I decided that we need to put some tracks on the snow here. Yeah. I like the way that's coming out. Let's see. Oops. No, that's the idea. That emptiness is part of the story. You have to appreciate the space, you know, fill everything up with little bits of things. It's a winter day observation from the top of a hill. Blue, good morning. Although I did not get, the only status update I got is that there's been no change, but you know, yesterday the hospice nurse said she can go within a matter of hours or it could be days. But my sister messaged me to say that she woke up feeling very calm and like mom didn't need her anymore, and her daughter felt the same. Not that I'm surprised, they're kind of like echoes of each other. But they're accurate. Mom doesn't need anybody right now, or anybody here on the planet ever again. But a wonderful thing happened. I got a sign from my mother through Iron Bear, and simultaneously dolphin, mermaid. It was just perfect, so I gotta tell you what it was. My mother used to call me the princess and the pea. She gave me that story. She's fine. She's fine. She's not in her body anymore. So we're just waiting now for the final signal. She used to call me the princess and the pea. And we were talking about that, my mother and I, yesterday, right? And I don't know. It doesn't matter. She's not in her body anymore. It doesn't matter. The body is just it's gonna catch up, but it's not. It doesn't matter. Mom's fine. So Iron Bear, of course, nobody knew about that, right? You didn't know. Nobody knows. That's a sign between me and my mom about the princess and the pea, because I'm the princess. And Iron Bear went to put a pea under Dolphin's mattress when she said she was going to go back to bed. And it was like, thanks, Mom. At the same time, Dolphin requested an Angel Dreams card from, not just for herself, she asked to share it with me. So this is what came up at the same time. And when I see this looks like my mother looking in the mirror. My little thin mother with the dark hair. That's kind of like how she was when she was younger. Silhouetted. And that's what she really looks like. I mean, you know. So it was like, thanks, Mom. We're good. So of course I will still shed more tears, but I will share that with my sisters. So I know. Oh no, I heard from my father immediately, but I was too much in grief to communicate. You know, it was like I could tell he was there, but it just made me cry harder. I couldn't really talk to him. It was 16 years for me to let go of all the strong emotions so I could let him in. But then it was a surprise. But yesterday my papa showed up while I was, again, this time I'm washing up in a different bathroom. And my grandfather, my mother's mother, showed up, and he showed me a scene of when I was little, and him holding my hand, and we were walking to shul in the morning, because that was my favorite time with Papa. That's when I had him all to myself, and he and I would be walking down these very empty streets before the sun came up, because you are doing a sunrise service, you know. So we were going to the sunrise service, and so anyway, my grandpa showed me us walking down the street, and I'm looking at it, I was like behind, and I'm just like, no, that's me. And then suddenly it switched, and it wasn't me anymore. It was a smaller child, and it was Mom. And it was like, he's got Mom by the hand. Mom wanted her father to be there when she crossed over, and he was telling me he's right there. He's holding on. And so I felt like yesterday morning, you know, so I cried again. But they send you signs immediately. I mean, well, as fast as they can, but when we are close to someone and we lose them, we are upset, right? We're in grief, we're in shock, we're in whatever we're in, we're not emotionally calm enough to hear a delicate, fine, higher vibration, because it's like a whisper, and our emotions are screaming. So if you're screaming, how can you hear this? I'm right here, I'm right here, I love you, I'm right here. Yeah. Well, you don't have to believe it, honey. When you die, you'll understand. My father said, because I asked him, he showed me how he was alive and explained things, and I was experiencing that amazing miracle. And yeah, Dolphin, my father comes and goes as I need him. I don't need him a lot of the time, but I did ask, recently for his support, and Charlie is young and is in the questioning spirit stage, which is good. Charlie, actually, I left the temple when I was 15 years old because of my questioning, because they couldn't answer me a very simple question. It's like, why did the synagogue count more than me? They locked the doors against me because they were afraid when I came in before the congregation that I was doing some kind of vandalism, even though I'd been doing that for a year, getting there before everybody else so I could pray by myself. So I was actually like the most pious child that was in the entire temple, but I was locked out because they were afraid of kids doing things. What is that crazy woman doing? Whitey is jumping around back there. Anyway. Right. I know I'm going to hear as soon as they get all the calls going through the initial line, The first one that I will hear is my sister Judy. Well, actually, Harvey, my stepfather, he's in the next building over. He'll hear her. He's the mate. He might even be with her, I don't know. He hasn't called me. Yes, I did call him, but he's not really good with calling back all the time, but when he needs to or wants to, he will. So I'm just waiting. But I'm fine now. I mean, just like my sister knew when she woke up, she was calm. I was calm after I saw my papa. I haven't been fretting about that. I slept way better last night. She did. She knew. She knew that her mother visited her before it was verified by her sister. Your questioning is natural, exactly. What I put my rabbi through, and after that priest, my questioning went on for years, Charlie. Years. I went to every church, I went to every temple, I questioned people in their religion, I read on it. We didn't have internet back then. So, yeah, I had questions. My question was to my rabbi was, how can you say God will protect me if he can't protect this stupid building? You're more worried about the building than my spirit coming in here to worship. Therefore, where's your faith in God? Well, hey, you know what? God's everywhere, and I don't have to be in a building to worship him and talk with him. I'm with God all the time. And I stopped going. I dropped out of my bas mitzvah. I dropped out, there was another reason I dropped out of the bas mitzvah that had to do with my grandmother offering me $500 to get bas mitzvah, and I was only like 1 or 2 weeks away from it anyway. And that was so insulting to my spirituality that money, a bribe, should come up. I was furious, and I dropped out. And I was like, fuck you people. Don't you get God? Why are you mixing money with God? And yeah, I was a very self-righteous little kid. So I never stopped believing that I was a child of God because I talked to God continuously. So I was fine with God. I wasn't fine with religion, and I went on to still be not fine with religion. But I love temples because, despite the fact that there are so many hypocrites out there and so many people who really don't get it, they're just like doing things by rote, the energy in those temples is built up over years. Those older ones are freaking awesome because you sit there alone, and I do recommend alone, not with the congregation. Visit them. There is such beautiful vibration of peace and love. They're wonderful. I'm not saying take on the religion, but do check out temples. Check out what there are testimonies to humans' need for expression, need for spirit, need for connection with the world and the universe. It wasn't just rebellious. I wanted to know why. But see, I guess because I already accepted God as a reality and you were not, so it's a little different. I rejected religion and the rules that they had attached, the bullshit attached to the basic love of God, love of each other. Yeah, oh, Iron Bear, yes, okay, so we do have a similarity there. Yeah, I loved librarians, I worshipped teachers. I mean, they were my idols. People with the keys to the knowledge. Yeah. I loved it when in 6th grade I ran out of books in their library that I was interested in. And they did not know what to do other than bring in some books. My librarian imported some books from 7th and 8th grade. It's like, thank you so much. Oh, yeah. Oh, how beautiful. Dolphin, exactly. We know through that which does not need words or a particular definition. It's a knowing, it's a feeling, and it's uplifting like no other feeling. Well, you're going through a lot of phases, and it is maybe a little demeaning. Not really, though, because it's just a fact of life for you. You're a kid. You don't like being called a kid. You're feeling very grown up because you have spent your entire life absorbing information from around you, but you have so far to go that by comparison, yeah, you have a little drop of experience, a drop. And the rest of us, like, you know, we're multiple times your age, are kind of like, yeah, we see the path in front of you. You've got a lot of options still. You're very fortunate in that. We hope you make good choices, but your life is up to you. But you haven't gotten very far yet. You just think you have. Well, yeah. We're talking about spiritual experiences. Well, the conversation led to this because my mother is transitioning. Now, my father has helped me through this last week because I kept getting all these transition cards, as I told you, and I was kind of like, hey, all right already. Aside from Mom, obviously, being on the edge, you know, her body is generally healthy. I don't know how soon that's going to break down. I don't know how much brain it requires to maintain your heart, you know. So, of course, it's, you know, I had to ask. I started to feel like it was personal. Like, oh God, I'm just ready to launch into my life. I'm so excited about what I'm doing. So excited about my future. So excited about everything I'm planning, and can't wait to get involved with. I can't be getting ready to drop dead today, am I? And so I actually reached out to my dad, and he said, no, it's not about you. You're fine. You're fine. Everything's going to plan. Don't worry. So it was like, oh, okay. And then the next day, actually within hours, my sister let me know that my mother had had a seizure. And then later that afternoon, after the doctor had examined her, he determined that she'd had a stroke and that she wasn't going to open her eyes again. I'm talking about your questioning phase about religion and spirituality. You are in a questioning phase of that part of your reality. You're at that age, 15, 16, 17, 18. It's like, where do you think all of the music comes from? Isn't that amazing, Dolphin? My mom is little, so I hope that she does not go that long like this. But she's in hospice. They're keeping her comfortable, and that's what they're there for, to make sure she doesn't suffer in the last hours or days. They're not going to let her, if she starts to seize, they've got medication nearby. The beginning of it is your age. The big beginning, because until you get to be around, a little past puberty, and your mind is moving to things beyond just sex, or just before the sex stuff, or like your body is distracting you. Yeah, that's about the age when we start questioning a lot of things. I mean, we're always questioning, and we should never stop, and we don't. I hope we don't. I don't. I question everything, but not. Well, no, I don't question everything anymore. There are certain things I'm able now to say, I know everything I need to know about that subject for my current trajectory in this life. I know that there is no such real thing as death. Death does not happen except on the material, mortal level. My body will die. It has no choice. It's not happy about that. But it will, because everything here is temporary, which is why I keep saying. You've got one body, one time, and then whether you believe in it or not, if you do come back, it's a different body. You will not know who you are, but ultimately you are the same entity. You're just growing and learning. Yeah, Mom hasn't woken up in days, but she was already in that phase of sleep, sleep, sleep. They've been making sure, how much am I excited for death? No. Why would I be excited for death? You're misunderstanding my lack of fear of moving on with an excitement to become dead. I've been dead. I'm alive right now. I'm celebrating that. No. I don't know what you're getting from this conversation, Charlie. Honestly. I know my mom's safe. And when she is, and if she is coming back in any way, I will not know where she lands. She will be born again, and I don't even know if she'll be a female or a male. It's not my business anymore. My mom, the entity that is my mother, the person I know on the other side of the material life side, she's fine, and she's got her own plans, and we work together, and there's nothing but love behind the scenes. It is. I'm excited that we don't have to fear it, Charlie, that when you die, you'll know everything I'm talking about. So I don't have to worry about you either. You make your decisions, you make your choices, you live your life. If you do well, I'm happy for you. If you don't do well, I'm sorry for you, but that's your path. That's the choices you make, and then you get the results of your actions. Life in itself is incredible. You're in a fucking miracle. Your body is a miracle. Appreciate it. Take care of it. I'm excited about all aspects of it. I'm excited to be here on Earth. I'm always excited to be here. I love this planet. I love everything on it. It's an amazing place. Everything here is a miracle, but we take it for granted because we get blind to things. We use things. We hurt things. We don't understand the depth to which we are affecting everything around us. That is sad, but at the same time, people have to learn, I'll teach those that end up in front of me to teach, but I am not going out of my way to try and train people or force things on them. It's like, you will learn whatever you need to learn from where you're at. You can get there from wherever you're at. Exactly, Dolphin. Exactly. You're here now. And those are like, be here now. 3 of the most important words you can ever stick in your head. Tattoo them in your brain. Be here now. Because this is where your point of power is. Only from the point of now can you change anything. Because you're making your decisions now. You're paying attention to your point of attraction. What is it? Is it a happy point? Or are you pissed off, angry, walking around with your head down, staring at the ground all the time? I mean, that's not a happy place. That's the vibe you're attracting. Is that the ball of crap you want to like keep glomming onto yourself? These negative vibes, these sorrows and all that? Time to live as opposed to what? That's your question to answer. As opposed to what? Flatlining. Dolphin has the floor. I am going to take a picture of this card for my sister. She's going to appreciate it exactly. We're not answering your questions right now, Charlie. Dolphin is writing to say something. Tell you what, go back and listen to last night's broadcast. Live as if you are never going to die. Well, I would hope that you're not worse for these discussions. Well, if you're not trying to be the best version of yourself, if you're not active in making your life better, then you are not doing anything but being a teenager who's lazy and not questioning things really deeply, regardless of what you're saying. Action must follow the thought, or nothing changes. Thought is where you begin, but action is required in this world. Yeah. Inspired to learn, yes, and question, good, but you can't be lazy about that. And you don't measure best by other people, but you. What are you capable of doing? Don't you ever test yourself to see how far you can go or how well you can do something? How good you can do? Are you satisfied with everything that you do first time out, or do you actually work at something to make it better? Like, if you sketch something, are you satisfied, or will you actually use the eraser and try to improve it? Or just say, oh, that's great, fine, and move on. Yeah, we're all growing all the time. We're all learning all the time. And then when we run out of stuff, we die. So, don't run out of stuff to do. And Dalvin, that's sad about your friend, but I have seen people like that. And you know what? A lot of it is not just, it may start off as grief that is basically supported by society. When you lose your partner, whether they're your mate or your prospective mate, if you are attached to that thought, at first society supports you, right? You're sorry for you, they want you to feel better. But then it becomes a point where it's an excuse not to live. It's like they cut off a limb and go, well, I can't do anything in life anymore because I'm missing this arm. And with this arm gone, I'm useless. So, there you go. If you are happy, keep doing it. But if you are not considering your future, that's foolish. Humans do have brains to calculate things, and you have to prepare for yourself. Charlie, why is it so incredible about, yet you want to keep living? Because we are different forms. Here we have taste. We see colors differently. We have touch. We have sex. We don't have those things in the world of spirit, as we call it. We don't actually call it the world of spirit. We, as humans, call it the world of spirit, but I don't know what we call it. We have sounds. We don't have words. We don't work with words. Yeah, look, we choose different lives. But life is meaningless without love. Love is why we are here. To love ourselves may be our only lesson. We may never learn to love others, but we are here to learn to love ourselves, to love our others, and to expand that into the world. No, it is not boring. It is different, that's all. Why would it be boring to tour the universe? To look through all humans' eyes simultaneously. It's a shame that she has not allowed herself to love in a way that supports her as a person, soul person. But if she's gone on and on, I mean, how many years has she been alone? Sometimes people don't know how to have a relationship, so they choose being alone over taking those chances. How would I know, Charlie? Anything alive has spirit involved, so you figure it out yourself. No, we don't go back and forth. Only 19, huh? So she didn't even learn how to have a relationship. She doesn't even know what a long-term relationship is. She didn't have one. Now see, my friend Lorna did that. Her fiance fell out a window, died, broke his neck. And she also was young. The problem was that it was also an excuse not to lose her virginity. She was so terrified of sexual contact. She really was afraid of most men, but she did love and trust this one guy. So when he died, her decision was to never love again. It really came down to never have sex. And so she died at 80 years old, a virgin. And she really did not have a happy life. She was alone. She had 3 cats. She was lonely. Her mother became her life, and then when her mother died, she tried to just carry on like her religious mother. Everybody you have is once only. This is the only physicality you're going to have ever in this body. You're only going to be Charlie once. That's it. You have one chance at being the Charlie, whatever you make it. Iron Bear, that is something I've contemplated, actually, the black hole thing. Because it's kind of like reassembling things and then shooting it back out as raw energy with does the knowledge, that's one of the things they're looking at, while they're seeing certain packets come out, they're going, it might be possible, maybe that's what's happening here. So that is definitely one of the things I'm fascinated with. And black holes are not forever. It's a jet, isn't it? I mean, it looks like a laser. I don't know. It did strike some fear in me when I was looking at the phenomenon, actually. Dis-ease, an unease. It's like, stay away from that. That changes you. I believe that we see ourselves as immortal only because we don't know what the end looks like for us. We're still exploring, we're still expanding, we don't know. We're still looking. That's why we keep expanding. We keep asking questions, we keep trying to figure things out. And by the way, that's why we need our sciences. That's very much a push from us. Physics. We want to understand what we are. We know who we are when we are human. When we look in the mirror, we are a definitive being. And we know we are also a personality, an entity, as it were. But the entity is also very closely connected with everyone. Specific groups, the whole, much bigger and busier, and it doesn't have the definitions of a human body. And the human body is fascinating because it's got all of these sensations and abilities. It's not a matter of caring, it is a matter of the information that is carried with them. Just because we are incapable of understanding them, we are simply observing them, that doesn't mean we know them. We are traveling on light. We are traveling light. We're learning more and more about our nature, but we're just like this far away from figuring out some things. So it's a very exciting time. If we don't blow ourselves up, it'll be awesome. So, if you wanted to focus on something you wanted to fix on this planet, what would it be first? What would be the first thing you would want to affect to help this world? Something outside of just yourself. I'm not answering all your questions, Charlie. If you can't figure out my morals or my moral fiber by now, then you were really deaf and dumb. Dolphin, good thought. Okay, that's a good one right there. We need to bring it to the simplest terms, all right? We have to be able to envision something, and that's a good one to envision, because very simply, we can look at a thermometer in our minds when we're focusing. So let's look at, yeah, that's a good one. I like that. That's what we'll do. But what is one of the things that's driving it is the human anger. How can we affect that anger? That would be devastating, Iron Bear. We don't want to kill off all the humans to accomplish the goal. Right. We're already having enough of that. We just had major food loss in our country. But it is now time to reconcile some of that food loss by me eating lunch. It's already made. I just have to put it together and heat it up. I am going to do that now. I will put all the cards away. I will get my laundry started. And I will be back later to paint. Dolphin, I hope you will sleep now. You need to have some rest before dealing with the grandkids. And I'll be back later. You sleep. Alright, thank you for hanging out with me and chatting, and Iron Bear and Dolphin. Thank you for being open to spirit and just speaking what came naturally.